NCAA March Madness, NBA season predictions, and buy or sell, and maybe a little rants. Stay tuned. WMCM's Sports Talk Live is next.
High energy in sport.
Welcome back to Sports Talk Live. I'm Aaron Morse.
Jeremiah Waite.
And I'm Austin Cook. So we'll get into it right away. The best game maybe of the weekend, definitely for sure round two of March Madness, was Duke UCF. UCF came within just a quick tip-in of upsetting what many people call the best team in college basketball. So I guess right away, let's just talk about your general thoughts, Jeremiah, about the game.
I mean, for anyone that didn't watch the game, I feel sorry for you because the game was amazing. I mean, to see Zion Williamson against Taco Fall, I mean, that was the big matchup going into the game. But I think the player who stole the game away was Aubrey Dawkins, the son of head coach of UCF, Johnny Dawkins, who, believe it or not, played for Duke in 1986, won them a national championship under Mike Krzyzewski, who's still the coach at Duke and is their second leading scorer in Duke history. I just think seeing his son take over the game the way that he did and to keep UCF in the game the way that he did was remarkable because no one had UCF even close to winning this game. They were 13-point underdogs, so the fact that they kept within the game as long as they did and should have won the game was remarkable. Austin, what is your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible game. My big story is Taco Fall, getting those 4 fouls and having to sit on the bench for a while. I mean, with him in, it could have been a different game for that segment that he was out, but just him and Zion had a great matchup throughout the whole game, and it's just accelerating down to the final buzzer. So, yeah, Aaron?
Yeah, just to extend on your Taco Fall with the 4 fouls, he ended up fouling out on basically Duke's last possession. I don't know why. So I watched really closely the last 7 minutes, and I was wondering why Taco was kind of being so passive as 7-6. But I realized, yeah, he's got those 4 fouls. He did a really good job of not committing that 5th foul until that last possession. I'm still trying to understand why he really challenged Zion in that spot. Let Zion get to 2 points. You're still up 1. You get the ball back, and Duke then has to foul you. And you play the foul game, and you got to trust, say Aubrey Dawkins, who had such a good game, scoring 32 points.
Right.
That you'll make your free throws. Instead, you give him the chance to get the and one, and we all know the putback, R.J. Barrett. But that kind of leads into the kind of refs down the stretch were iffy at times. A few calls that people are kind of saying that were controversial. What do you think about the refs?
I mean, I just want to kind of go back on the point that you were talking about earlier about Taco Fall maybe playing a little tentative.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, when you're in the basketball game like that and someone's coming at you, you're up 3, like, your first instinct is to block the ball. He's 7'6", Zion's 6'7". Like, odds are in Taco Fall's favor to block the shot, okay? And throughout the game, I think UCF, they figured out what Duke's weakness is. I think every other NCAA team needs to look at what UCF did to beat Duke, which is make them shoot threes. Obviously, having a 7'6" guy in the middle of the court helps, a rim protector, but I think it's amazing how they would play like a one-man zone and dare Duke's guards to shoot the ball, which they didn't the whole game. And I just find it remarkable how Duke was even able to stay in this game and even make it a game at the end when they're down by 4 points. Should have been 6.
Yep.
So, I mean, just remarkable game. For people that didn't see it, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, I agree. The refs did struggle down the stretch, but Aubrey Dawkins also missed the alley-oop dunk and the putback at the end.
You can't miss that.
It would have changed the game. Refs wouldn't have mattered.
Absolutely.
So moving into more of the NCAA basketball reactions, just in general, I guess, what are the teams that kind of stuck out to you performance-wise in the first 2 rounds?
Well, I'd say first and foremost, Florida State. you know, they didn't just win or make it to the ACC championship game in the tournament where they lost to Duke. They didn't just make it there because of a fluke. They made it there because they're strong, they're athletic, they're physical, and they're super lengthy. Their guards are 6'5" or taller. What's another team in college basketball who has guards that are 6'5" or taller?
Yeah.
Like, that's your forwards, you know,
Yeah.
on most teams. I mean, Florida State under Leonard Hamilton, they're hot right now. They beat Vermont in the first round, which was a tough game for them, but the Catamounts out of Vermont are a good team out of the American East Conference. And then, obviously, what Florida State did to Murray State, which just, you know, killed Marquette, and how they're able to contain Ja Morant. I mean, obviously, Ja Morant is amazing. I don't want to talk a little too much about Morant, since we're going to talk about him a little later in the show, but I think it's remarkable how they're able to, you know, kind of keep him contained. And, you know, obviously Morant's not on the same team with Murray State as what Florida State is, but like having Kabengele from Florida State, you know, doing what he does for them, and having, you know, 8 or more guys on that team that score 6 or more points a game, it just shows the depth that Florida State has. And it's tough for any team to really contend with that if you have 6 or more guys that score 6 or more points a game. So,
who's a team that stuck out to you, Austin?
Well, not even a team that stuck out. Just something that really stuck out to me was how poorly the Big 12 has been playing. You have Kansas State coming as a 4 seed, losing first round to UC Irvine, who got their first win in tournament
you're a Kansas
history.
State fan, though, right? Funny how he brings up the Big 12.
Salty, KU coming out, winning first round, then big upset from Auburn, I think it was, in the second round. Iowa State winning the Big 12 tournament, coming out losing first round. OU got to win first round, then lost second round. I think Baylor lost first round. I mean, the only team left in the Big 12 is Texas Tech, and they had no share of the Big 12 title. So just watching how poor the Big 12 is played is just kind of demoralizing for any Big 12 fans out there, even though it is Big 10 country. So
yeah, the team that stuck out to me is for sure Oregon. They are playing lights out basketball right now, swept through the Pac-12 tourney like it was nothing. Imagine if they had a healthy Bol Bol.
Oh, man.
That dude was outstanding the first few weeks.
He's averaging a double-double as a freshman.
Yep, the first few weeks of the season. He gets hurt, decides, you know what, my stock is high enough, I'm not going to, even if I have time to come back, I'm not going to. But Oregon has really found out a way to play. Peyton Pritchard needs to be a little bit better if they're going to keep up with Virginia. But guys like Kenny Wooden, who is just a ball of energy on defense, making all the plays. I think that if they had Bol Bol, they would be a for sure Final Four team, which they easily can make the Elite Eight Final Four. Yeah,
easily.
for sure.
Easily.
For sure.
I mean, Oregon, you can kind of look at them as the same way Florida State is.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Pritchard isn't 6'5", but he's just kind of that guard that is, he's that guard that no one wants to play.
Yeah.
He's feisty.
Yep.
He ticks you off.
Brad
he's all over you.
Davison-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like Brad Davison of the Badgers, which it sucked to see Oregon beat the Badgers.
Yeah.
As Badger fans, us too.
I was hoping for a second round. I was hoping for a second round matchup
Kansas
with the
State,
Kansas
Wisconsin.
State. I was
That's
hoping
exciting,
for it.
yeah.
A little
Didn't
breaking
happen.
rights
Yeah.
up here.
Yeah,
The show might have been a little different then. But no, I think it's, I mean, like you were saying, Kenny Wooten, like his blocks that he had on Ethan Happ, like as a Badger fan, that just irritates you because it's like, wow, I wish we had an athlete like that on our team. I mean, Khalil Iverson, I mean, yes, he is an athlete like that, but he's just different, a different type of athlete compared to like what Oregon had with Wooten.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some other athletes for sure. Zion Williamson and Ja Morant, extremely athletic, both guys, both different types of players. Zion 6'7", 290 pounds. Ja Morant just a skinny point guard. But looking at just these few performances that they had, who would you, if you were an NBA GM, you're the #1 pick, who are you taking, Zion or Ja Morant?
I mean, is this a question? I mean, obviously we made it a question. It's a topic for us. But, I mean, how can you not take Zion? Zion is the LeBron that our generation never grew up with until now. Zion's a superstar, and there's 3 reasons why. #1, name factor, Zion. Right? Like Zorro, the big Z. Zion's going to have something. Marketers, this is a marketer's dream for Zion. He's going to go #1 overall to the Knicks. He's in New York. Everyone's going to love him. The name just, nothing can beat it, okay? #2, he's a physical freak. He's 6'7", 275. He's bigger than Gronk, which is insane, okay? He can jump out of the world. He can shoot. He has a soft touch when he shoots, which how, if you're that big? Then #3, he plays at Duke. It's one of the biggest name brand colleges in college basketball. He plays under Mike Krzyzewski. I mean, look at Chris Paul. He went to Wake Forest. Who knew about Chris Paul before he got to the NBA? Giannis, you big Milwaukee Buck lovers. Who knew about Giannis until he got drafted by the Bucks, and then he started to do well his first season? Everyone knows about Zion. Everyone knows what he does. He's going to be a freak. He's the best player, hands down, no discussion.
Quickly, what's your easy solution, Ja or Zion?
I mean, they're both fun to watch, good for college basketball. They got those exciting plays, but if I'm an NBA scout, I'm probably going with Zion, just based strictly on his size, athleticism, his ability to score. He's just an all-around athlete. So
I'm disagreeing. I'm taking Ja first, especially if I'm the Suns. They need a point guard big time. And plus, NBA is based around point guards and shooting now.
And Devin Booker, too. Oof.
That'd be a nice combo.
All right, we'll be right back after these WMCM promos.
The University of Wisconsin-La Crosse brings you a weekly student newscast. Important news, movie critiques, weather forecasts, sports highlights, and local interviews. UWL's own WMCM, run by the students, for the students. Every Thursday at 4:30 on Campus Channel 200 and Charter Channel 989.
There's another one.
Oh, yeah.
Fanatic. Tune in on WMCM TV's Screening Room, Tuesdays at 2:45 or 4:30. You can watch on Channel 200 and Charter 989. See you on Tuesdays for Screening Room.
Welcome back. We're going to dive into some NBA season awards. Couple weeks left in the season, so we're going to be looking at our predictions for each of the awards: MVP, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, Defensive Player, and Coach of the Year. We have a couple disagreements, so we'll see what those are. First, we'll dive right into the MVP race. It looked like a three-headed race right away, but Paul George has kind of dipped off. He's hasn't been as good since the All-Star break, so it's really between Giannis and Harden. I'm picking Giannis. What do you guys think?
Well, I live in Wisconsin, so I should say Giannis, right? But it's Harden, hands down, no discussion.
Yeah, I'm going Harden right away too. So sorry, all you Bucks fans.
See, my thing.
Sorry about it.
Yeah, my thing with Harden though is that he's used 41% of the time when the Rockets have the ball. That is a lot. Giannis is only around 31%, 32%. If he had that extra 10% in there, I mean, he'd be putting up the same kind of numbers that Harden was points-wise. Not even to mention that Giannis is putting up way more rebounds, has the same assist numbers as a point guard handling the ball, and plus Giannis plays defense against all five positions.
Sure, absolutely. I think you got to look at it in the sense that, like, Harden is a different player than Giannis. Obviously, Harden gets crap because he doesn't play defense, which he has improved a lot.
I agree. I do agree.
Defensively, yes, he still is a negative on the Rockets, which they get around this by plugging players in like P.J. Tucker and having Capella play more minutes to kind of, down that number a little bit. But, I mean, offensively, like, the NBA is a scoring league. Everyone loves points. Harden scores a lot of points. Does he take a lot of shots to get there? Sure. But he shoots 61%, or, like, with threes and two-point shots included. And he scores, 37 points darn near. So, like, I think it's incredible what he does and how he gets there.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Harden just putting up all those points, it's what the people want to see in the NBA. I mean, yeah, defense, he could be a little better at it, obviously. Everyone could get better at defense, but just him, that run of 30-point games is just incredible. That's just good for the league overall and just good for his brand as well. So, I mean, I'm just going with Harden on this one.
How many did he end up getting? Was it 29 or 30?
For what?
The 30-point game stretch.
Oh,
he was 30.
I think he was right around 30.
It was like second overall in
he ended
history.
up with 29 points. He was dribbling up the court and four Suns quickly guarded him so he could get another shot. The biggest thing that was for me with that stretch though is like how many times he only made 5-6 shots. All those free throws he's getting that are getting him to that 30.
Get him to the line.
It's insane. So I don't know. It's definitely a skill to get to the line, and it's part of the game. But I think that Harden manipulating refs at times is a little sketchy, and it kind of adds to his point totals.
Absolutely.
But I think Giannis leading the Bucks to the best record in the league. It only kind of propels him a little above Harden in the MVP race.
I think Okay, so I'm going to disagree with you again because obviously I think Harden should win it. I think you have to look at it in the aspect of you got to look at the teams, right? So the Bucks without Giannis versus the Rockets without Harden. The Rockets play in the West, which is a harder conference than the East. I don't care what all you Bucks lovers want to say. The East sucks compared to the West, okay? The 8 seed up in the West is like 14 games above 500. No teams in the East can say that unless you're 4 seed or higher. Okay, so obviously look at the Rockets roster. If they don't have Harden, they have Chris Paul. Okay, yeah, he's one of the greatest passing point guards in league history. They have Clint Capella, who's a great rim protector, getting better at scoring more consistently. And then I guess you could say Eric Gordon, consistent outside threat. But other than those 3 guys, name me someone else who starts on their starting roster. Oh, you don't know? Well, I'll tell you, Kenneth Faried. Kenneth Faried, what? This guy barely played last year in the league, and now he's with the Rockets, and he's scoring like 14 points a game. What? This guy was known at Morehead State for the crazy dunks that he had in the NCAA tournament, and now he's kind of turned into a productive big man for the Rockets. Without Harden, the Rockets would not be even in consideration of the playoffs in the West. The Bucks, without Giannis, I think personally, they'd be a 4 or a 5 seed. Why? I think a perfect way to look at this is with Tony Snell. Last year, he started for the Bucks most of the games. This year, he's their 10th guy on the bench. He hardly plays. And my roommates, love my roommate, but last year, all I heard is, Tony Snell is the Steph Curry of the East. Tony Snell, this and that. Well, guess what? He hardly plays anymore. So the Bucks obviously have a ton of talent. They're obviously the best regular season team in the NBA right now and should be considered, you know, favorites to win the NBA championship.
All right, quickly, we'll just get in Rookie of the Year. Who do you think it is?
I'm going Trae Young. What he does for the Hawks is just, I mean, they're not a good team by any means, but, you know, he does what he needs to do, and they have come up with some big wins lately, so I like Trae Young.
Trae Young as well. I mean, yeah, he struggled to start the season, but, I mean, numbers since the All-Star break, better than Doncic of the Mavericks. He's scoring 25 points a game. Just had that big game winner against the 76ers. I think what he does, how he passes the ball, yeah, he sucks at defense, but offensively, as I alluded to with Harden, NBA is an offensive league. What he does offensively is amazing.
I have Doncic. I think what he's done is tailored off a little bit, but he grew too much of a lead in the first half. I think I want Trae Young to win it, but Doncic is going to win it. Most improved player, I have Pascal Siakam, up 10 points per game from last year. Huge on defense, all-around player, should have been an all-star this year. I have Pascal Siakam.
Well, I might be a little biased here. I'm a Timberwolves fan. D. Rose.
Not a bad pick.
You know why?
Good
Because
pick.
last year he was hurt so much, and this year when he scored 50 points on Halloween against the Jazz, like everyone loved it.
Yep.
Everyone was talking about it. He's scoring nearly 20 points a game off the bench for the T-Wolves. He's shooting 37% from 3. And for all them D. Rose lovers, when he first got into the league, this man could not shoot. He still won an MVP with the Bulls, and he's shooting almost 50% from the field. I just find it incredible how he's evolved his game, even with all the injuries that he's had. So, I mean, he's probably not going to win it now that he's hurt and out for the year, but I just find it remarkable what he's done for the T-Wolves this year.
Yeah, and I got to go with D'Angelo Russell on this one. His transition from the Lakers over to the Nets, he's just looked like a whole new player. Give him the opportunity to just show what he actually has coming out of college into LA. He didn't look as good as he could have, and going over to the Nets, you know, he's just looked like a whole new player, and it's just, I don't know, really cool to watch. So
I think this award is definitely the closest. It could go to any one of those guys for sure, and I wouldn't be upset.
Absolutely.
Defensive Player of the Year. I have Paul George, leads the league in steals, can guard multiple positions. The argument for Embiid is that, you know, he's such a presence down low, but he can't really guard perimeter-wise. He's got to be in the paint to be effective and get those blocks. So I'm Paul George.
No, I agree with you. I actually have Paul George as well, and I think it's because how, like you alluded to, he can cover so many positions. He leads the league in steals, deflected passes, loose balls. Like, all these stats play a huge role in who gets the award. I mean, you can look at the past award winners. Kawhi Leonard, same type of defensive player as Paul George. But I think the big thing with Paul George is when he was with the Pacers, a lot of people looked at him as like, oh, why doesn't he play defense? He has all this talent. And now with the Thunder, they're the best defensive team in the league. You know, they have, you know, Steven Adams as well, which is not a bad defender in himself. So, yeah, no, Paul George for me as well.
Yeah, I'm going with Embiid. It's a little biased. I'm a Sixers fan. I like watching him play, and he has that big presence down low, just ability to stop guys at the rim, and I know he's just fun overall to watch. And I like his attitude. He's a little funny at times.
Would you say it's between them two, probably?
Yeah.
I mean, who else really could win
Yep.
it? Giannis, maybe?
Maybe, but
Yeah, he's too much in that
similar to
MVP.
Coach of the Year, though. I have Mike Budenholzer. Couple numbers here on that.
It's because
Bucks
he's
were
a Bucks
30th in rebounding last year. They are first in rebounding this year.
Yeah.
They were last to first. They got the best record in the league. They are 5th in offensive rating, 1st in defensive rating, where they were 9th and 19th respectively last year.
Yeah.
So I got Budenholzer.
Yeah,
by
I'm
far.
with you. I have Budenholzer too. Just what he's been able to do to the Bucks organization overall. Not quite 360 it, but I mean, like you said, in rebounds. I mean, they're at the top of the league now. Where were they last year?
Right.
I mean, it's just incredible
Yeah.
to watch a team go from just watching them progress through a summer and
absolutely.
season. So I have Budenholzer too.
They were, what, 7th seed last year,
Yep.
1 seed this year? I mean,
yeah.
realistically, yeah, Budenholzer should win it and will win it. I looked a little differently. I looked at the New Jersey Nets or the Brooklyn Nets and Kenny Atkinson. I mean, he inherited a team that just got, crushed by the trade with the Celtics, by getting rid of all those first-round picks for KG and Paul Pierce. He went through a 1-27 stretch 2 years ago. His best player was Jeremy Lin. I don't know if anyone remembers Lin Sanity, but yeah, that was his best player. And to go from that terrible stretch to now having the Nets as a 7 seed this year, going out and trading for D'Angelo Russell, which I find it awesome how the Nets, got rid of the Lakers from the playoffs when Magic Johnson kind of just basically said D'Angelo Russell's a bust. I don't want him anymore.
just gave up
Now
on
Russell
him.
just became an all-star player this year. How he goes into LA and beats them. Yeah, I mean, Budenholzer's going to win it, but if you had to pick someone else, why not Atkinson?
Yep, I agree. Well, we'll be right back with buy or sell, but first, let's look at those adorable perfect pets.
Hi, I'm Andy. I love to play and hide in small, confined spaces. I need a home with lots of toys and space to run around.
Seize the means of toy production. Hi, I'm Bernie, and I may look wild, but I also just love to lounge around. Ooh, a toy!
Hello, my name is Jinx. I may be shy, but I love to explore. Take me home today.
To find out more about adoption, contact La Crescent Animal Rescue at 507-895-2066.
Right back into buy or sell. We got a couple questions on these. So our first buy or sell, Gronk retired over the weekend. Is he the greatest tight end of all time?
I'm going to go out right away and say no, he is one of the best, not the best. Tom Brady, system quarterback. He's a part of a system quarterback. I mean, there's all these other tight ends out there. Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, they're playing 20 years. What Gronk did in his 10 years is incredible. He is one of the greats, but not the greatest.
Absolutely. No, I agree. I think Gronk is one of the best tight ends, but not the greatest. I think Tony Gonzalez, I mean, durability, toughness, how long he played in the game, 14 Pro Bowls. I mean, Tony Gonzalez, his best quarterback wasn't until his 13th and 14th season in the league with Matt Ryan. Are you going to say Trent Green was one of his best quarterbacks? No, but still how he had 15,127 yards receiving, and he's second only to, as you said, Antonio Gates with 111 touchdowns. I mean, what Tony Gonzalez did in the league was remarkable with how he had no quarterback, unlike Rob Gronkowski, who had probably the best quarterback of all time.
He's a system
in Tom
quarterback.
Brady.
Yeah, for me, I think Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, maybe even Jason Witten are above Gronk because of the longevity aspect. And maybe Gronk was the most dominant, for sure, most dominant tight end, but that doesn't make it
I think
the
most
greatest.
dominant in the playoffs. What Gronk did in the playoffs was remarkable.
Oh, yeah.
All right, our next one, buy or sell. Duke is the best team left in the March Madness tournament.
I'd say no, just because of the fact that their weaknesses were exposed by UCF. Do they have the best players in the tournament? Obviously, they're going to have two of the top 3 draft picks in this NBA draft. I'm going to look at a Big Ten team, Michigan State. They lost Joshua Langford this year. They shouldn't have even been a top 5 team in the Big Ten. Not only do they tie for the conference regular season tournament or conference regular season title, they win the conference championship. They've destroyed every team. I mean, yeah, was the Bradley game a little close? Sure. They figured it out. They have Cassius Winston, best passing point guard in the tournament. They have big men in Nick Ward, Xavier Tillman, and Kenny Goins. They're on fire right now. They're playing well. Matt McQuaid, how many threes that he makes. And Tom Izzo, you know, how he got on Xavier Henry, and it got all talked about. But what does Tom Izzo do every year? They win in the tournament. They're always a Sweet 16 team. The Big Ten has not won an NCAA tournament title since 2000. This is the year where it ends. Michigan State, pencil it in. They're winning the tournament this year, and that's why they're the best team right now.
I just don't know about that. I'm saying Duke's the best team in the league still. Sorry, Big Ten. I mean, there's 3 or 4 ACC teams that have a shot at it, but I mean, Duke has shown with their 4 freshmen or their team that they can compete with the best and beat the best. So I'm saying Duke's the best then still.
No, they are not the best team. UNC fans are a little biased, but they're not the best team.
No.
UNC's better than them. Gonzaga's better than them. I'd take Michigan State over them. I would maybe even take Virginia over them.
Virginia,
play them
UNC
very tough. Duke just can't shoot the 3, and you have to be able to shoot the 3 in the tournament in order to win.
And free throws. They suck.
Cam Reddish disappears way too much. They get into foul trouble.
Yeah.
What happens if Zion gets in foul trouble?
They're gone.
So our last buy or sell. Buy or sell LeBron will never make the playoffs or never make the finals again.
It's tough. I'm a big LeBron guy. I don't know if you guys see this. This is his high school jersey, so go LeBron. But I'd like to say yes, he's going to make another finals, but obviously the Lakers have to change drastically. They got to go out. They got to get someone for him, whether it's Anthony Davis, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. I don't care who, but he also needs perimeter scoring threat. LeBron's a point guard, even though he's 6'8", 6'9", 250, 260, whatever he is. He needs perimeter scoring threat because he's such a great passer. There is not a better passer than LeBron in the league. He needs scoring outside, and he does not have that right now with the Lakers. The Lakers are literally him, except no one else on the Lakers are him. So, like, it's just dumb. But, yeah, he needs help, for sure.
Buy or sell?
I think he'll be back. I mean, this is the first time he's missed the playoffs since his first year in the league. He's had 8 or 9 years in the finals. I mean, yeah, the West it's a loaded West, but you know, some of those teams have got to disband eventually. So someone's going to come to LA, help him out, and you know, within the next however many years it takes, he'll be back though.
For sure.
I think it's foolish to think he won't be back.
Right. It's LeBron.
Just naive.
This injury that came back in 6 weeks, it's been reported that it should have kept him out 6 months, and his numbers have gone up since he's come back from the injury. That's insane. That's telling you he's not declining at all.
Which is remarkable.
Magic Johnson, it is. Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka has got to figure out how to get stars around him. When Kevin Durant leaves the Warriors this summer in free agency, the Warriors won't be in their way anywhere. LeBron will get Anthony Davis, someone to help him, and they will return.
Why not
to the NBA
KD?
Finals. Probably even win. Yeah, maybe KD will show up. That would be insane.
Because you imagine if LeBron and KD are on the same team, there are going to be guys that take the veterans minimum just to play on their team, just to be a shooter. They know, holy goodness, I'm going to be wide open.
All right, so we'll get into the good old rants. Austin, we'll start with your wrestling rant.
Yeah, I'm just going to go out there and say it. Basketball, basketball, basketball. You missed it. ESPN had some of the most exciting stuff this last week in National Wrestling Championships. Penn State, nine titles in the last 10 years. That's not more dominant than Alabama football. And it'd be fun to talk about, as much fun as basketball is, but geez, we got to get some wrestlers up here. We'll move on to Jeremiah.
Actually, I'm going to take over. I'm going to go second. My rant, I'm sorry, it is going to be on basketball. College basketball players and college coaches need to practice down the stretch plays more often. I'm seeing guys down 5 with the ball, and they're just chucking up 40-foot threes. Drive to the basket, get 2, extend the game, play the foul game. Coaches, they're calling timeouts with 4 minutes left to set up their defensive pressure. If you can't tell your players to get into your defensive game by the time, you know, at this point in the season, what are you doing? You have to be able to get all of that in. The time management down the stretch is brutal in college basketball.
Well, I'm going to make this nice, short, and quick and sweet. The Wisconsin Badgers. I don't know if you haven't figured it out by now, you should have figured it out after losing to Oregon. You need vertical players that play above the rim, okay? Ethan Happ, yeah, he's great, but he can't play above the rim. Obviously, Kenny Wooten destroyed him. We need guys that can get to the rim, create their own shots, maybe dunk the ball. I mean, yeah, Cleo Iverson was great, but he cannot shoot. We need guys that can shoot, be aggressive, be versatile, get to the rim, do amazing plays, just like when they made it to the Final Four in the national championship. That team was fun to watch. Figure it out again in Wisconsin.
Well, high school LeBron, high school Ben Simmons, thanks for joining me today on the set.
I'm happy to be in college again. It's great.
Come back to the channel at 4 o'clock for Get Classy. Thanks for tuning in to Sports Talk Live.